Hello, welcome to Poetrusic. Today we are going to be doing another piece by William Wordsworth. If you remember, we had done a piece which started at evoking Milton, and Wordsworth wished that if Milton were here, he would have addressed the problems that London is facing, and we do need poets like him to bring to fore, to frame for us the problems that we face in everyday world and thereby encourage us to find solutions to them. In this particular sonnet also, Wordsworth is lamenting the fact that such are the times around him, such has been the degradation of his city and of the way people live in these cities nowadays, that he does not find peace anywhere. He keeps looking for comfort, but it is not easy to come by. And like I said in that video with that poem where he evokes Milton, in this video as well, I would like to remind you that this is a poem written with a realistic mindset. Wordsworth is not being a romantic here. But if you look at it in another way, he's perhaps being more a romantic here because he feels that we are becoming a people who no longer can appreciate the simple joys that nature has to offer to us, or the delights, the discoveries a book has to offer to us. And these, he feels, are the higher aims of human life, to come face to face with the depth and profundity of the nature around us. But he feels that as the Industrial Revolution touches its peak in England, in London specifically, that a lot of surfacial things are being given far more importance than things which actually add meaning to human life and make it more livable. The tone of this poem is rather of a depressed person. The tone of this poem is of a person who feels that he's losing his way, or more than losing his way, he feels that this is not what the world should destinate into. This is not what the world should come to. And there's a very sad tone to the poem as well. And also, there is a very positive thought that he has given to things gone by, which he feels were more worthwhile, which he feels were more profound, which he feels were worthy to be called the aims of human life. So this is what this poem is about, and the poem is entitled September 1802, and it's written in London, September 1802. And like I said, that these are the times when the Industrial Revolution is now showing its full prowess. It is at its peak, and London is transforming into the mega city that we know of it as of today. And he starts by an invocation here wonderfully. Like in the other poem, he started by calling out to Milton. Here he simply says, "O friend, I know not which way I must look for comfort. O friend, I really do not know which way I must look for comfort, being as I am oppressed." And if you look at the spelling of oppressed, there is an S and a T at the end. And this is an archaic usage. The basic meaning in present day English should be oppressed, with ending with an ED. And he says, I'm really oppressed because to think that now our life is only dressed for show. We are only dressed for show. Our life has gone down to such a level that we are only living for surfaces. Even though he's writing it in 1802 in London, you can relate to it today as well. As we look at this world that is really losing its way into social networking sometimes, or in putting up display pictures on social networking sites or other sorts of media by which we expose our life to others, there is this thing that we want to project an image of ourselves. There is too much of emphasis on how one looks, what one wears, the designers, the way you carry yourself, and this image, a specific image of self, is being portrayed far more than the image of the persona that we are. And he is saying that this is how he feels the change is coming to London, that he feels we are constantly dressed for show. We dress up so that people can look at us and we can show off in some way. Mean handiwork of craftsman, cook, or groom. So we constantly require craftsmen. We require people who work for us, cooks, perhaps those who groom us, and we are constantly becoming the handiwork of these people who are constantly dressing us up so that we can project a certain image of ourselves to the world. Then he says, we must run glittering like a brook in the open sunshine, or we are unblessed. He sees if we are not shining all the time, if we are not putting our best foot forward in terms of the visual image that we have, and he compares it, or the metaphor here is of a river that in sunshine shimmers and looks very beautiful. And he says that if in the sunshine we're not running like a brook, well then our life is of no importance. So you have to have pictures showing how you enjoyed so much on a certain vacation, or how you have been looking after sporting a new haircut. These kind of things we are very familiar with in the times that we are living in. Something similar to this he's referring to in 1802, where he feels that constantly people are giving more attention to the way they are dressed, the way they carry themselves in public, who cooks for them, who works for them, who grooms them. And more we are becoming the handiwork of these people who work for us, so that we can project this certain image to the world. We must run glittering like a brook in the open sunshine, or we are unblessed. The wealthiest man among us is the best. No grandeur now in nature or in book delights us. And he says that it is very surprising that there is absolutely no grandeur that we now find in the nature around us or in the books that we read, and it does not even delight us anymore. Our pleasures have become too superficial. If I would want to go back to the line that we read on the river, where he says that mean handiwork of craftsman, cook or groom, and then he says we must run glittering like a brook in the open sunshine, or we are unblessed. One notion of it is that he feels that yes, we have to project ourselves constantly like a river is shimmering in the sunshine. Another notion, if you look at the flow of the poem, could also be that he has punctuated the depressing notes with some positivities. And perhaps in this line he is saying that we should really be like a wonderful river in sunshine, and otherwise we are unblessed. We should be as free, as unfettered, and as wonderfully shimmering like a river in sunlight, or we are unblessed. So if we are not as free as things in nature, and we are giving ourselves to these trappings of vanity, these trappings of looking good, then perhaps we are unblessed. So this line can be interpreted both ways. Maybe it is saying that we have to be constantly dressed for show, but there is a good possibility that is punctuating the sadness in this poem by saying that please be rivers, flow as free as a river does in the sunshine, shimmering like it does, glowing in the persona that you are. Otherwise, you're unblessed. And then he says, the wealthiest man amongst us is the best. We have come to a world where the wealthiest man amongst us is the best. And that, again, I would say that you can draw an analogy in the present times, that the celebrities or people who really are the rich and the famous seem to us to be the best. And a lot of people follow them. There are constantly photographers who wish to pack them every day. And this is the sort of notion that you can actually relate to what he's saying is happening to London in 1802. So he says that no grandeur now in nature or in book delights us. Gone are the times when we would find beauty in nature, or when we would really like to read a good book. Repine, avarice, expense. What is this life defined by? Repine. Repine means when you seize someone else's property almost violently in an act by way of which you've committed dacoity or you've committed robbery. So this is what it is to be repine. And then avarice. Avarice is greed. So these are the things that characterize us, that we are very greedy. We constantly want the best for us. We are also repine, that we do not think twice about seizing someone else's property, and that we're constantly thinking about the expenditures that we have in life. And then he says, this is idolatry. This is not the right way to live your life. This is wasting your life. This is idolatry. And these we adore. But we've come to a point that these are the characters that we adore. These are the behavioral traits that we wish to imbibe, that we think are great, that we should be spending too much, we should not think twice about taking other people's property, and that we can live with greed. This seems very disturbing, that he's saying that we are characterized by a life like this, and not only are we characterized by it, we adore these traits. We want to be greedy, we want to get more material possessions, we want to get them even unlawfully, and that we are constantly wanting more after we've had some. So then he says, again coming to the positivity that he really misses of the life gone by, plain living and high thinking are no more. Plain living and high thinking are no more. Plain living, that when you lived without desire for material comforts every now and then. And high thinking, when you were very profound, you were very evolved in your thought process, you were a generous hearted soul. And this is not happening now. The homely beauty of the good old cause. He really doesn't define the good old cause here, but he says that our way of life is undergoing a transformation. And the life that he's referring to in the past, which he thinks of very highly, is the life that had a good cause to it, that had reasons for living, and that had very strong reasons for making human life more blessed, more wonderful, more profound. That cause is missing now. That cause is gone. The homely beauty. And why does he say the homely beauty? There was nothing which was grandeur-like about it. There was nothing which was celebrity-like about it. It was a homely existence that you had, and there was beauty to the simplicity. There was beauty to this life which ran from day to day, wanting to learn more, imbibe more, become better individuals, and not really to possess more. So he says that this life was very simple in the past. There was a homely beauty to it, and he says it was the homely beauty of the good old cause, and that is gone. Our peace, our fearful innocence. We were at peace then. We felt very much at home in the surroundings that we were in, but we were constantly not peaceless in striving towards gaining more material comforts and fulfilling every greed that we had. So we were really far more at peace then. And then he says we had fearful innocence. We were innocent. There was not too much awareness about the world around us, and we were fearful. Fearful, the word here does not imply negativity. It basically means that we thought about doing good, and we were fearful of the fact that we might do something which is unlawful, that we might do something which is not right in the eyes of God. And this was the innocence we had, that we were afraid of even thinking about maybe rapine or avarice or about expenses. And therefore we were simple people and we were fearful. And this was our fearful innocence, that we, before doing something which we felt was incorrect, we thought twice or thrice, or maybe we did not even give it a thought at all. We were fearful of our parents, of the way they would chide us if we were to do something wrong. We were fearful of the Almighty. We were fearful of our friends, of people that we loved, that we really cannot take a step out of that which is considered proper behavior. And this is how good that life was. And then he adds the last line to this possibility, and pure religion breathing household laws. We had a pure religion then, and that religion, and he does not name a god here, or he does not name church here. He says this is a religion breathing household laws. This religion came from this household that we occupied, the family that stayed within it, and the simple ideals it had about life, that they had to look out for each other, that they had to work hard at evolving their personas, that they perhaps had to appreciate whatever nature had given to them. He names nature and reading books in a line, 3 or 4 lines before this one. So perhaps we were a very close-knit, wonderful family living together, who was fearful of God, wanted to live a righteous, good life, wanted to explore nature, wanted to read books, and wanted to add experiences to life which made it more meaningful. All this, I feel, is missing presently in London. And that is the time, 1802, and he really feels very badly for the changes that are coming up in the society around him, and he feels that this is not the right way. We were living with a good old cause in the times gone by, and that is not happening anymore. So this is what he's saying in this poem, and he addresses it to a friend. Oh friend, I know not which way I must look for comfort. I really have no idea where do I look for comfort. So it's almost that he's sitting with his friends and sharing this pain with his friends' circle, that this is what our society is coming to, and I do not like it. And once again, you can relate it to present times. We all sometimes discuss with friends that how these times, which are characterized with so much of social networking, are causing more grief than the good that they are causing us. So this is what Wordsworth is doing here. And if you really want to access the earlier poem that I did where he invokes Milton, the link to that poem is in the description box below. You can find it below this video. So next time, I'll greet you again with another great poem. I hope you're having a good time with us. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this poem, and please share it with your friends. Thank you.